Hey everybody. Cliff Branch passed away. I got the news in a very odd way. Very odd. To be candid, I was in the bathroom, and I, as people want to do, when you get on your smartphone, you page to the news and all that stuff, and it popped up. I mean, it popped up. So my first action upon reading the headline wasn't to read what happened. It was to call a mutual friend of Cliff and I's. I'm not going to say her name, and that's not the point. Well, the connection is more the point than the name. And I'd obviously just woke her up. This happened just a moment ago, folks. I just zoomed up here. Um, and on the way of zooming up here, I told my mom, who knew Cliff. You see, the one thing you got to understand about the Oakland Raiders is an Indian NFL team is if that team is in a town long enough, people have relationships, both conscious and unconscious, that are formed because of the very existence of that organization. And that was more than true for the Raiders, and that was certainly true for Cliff Branch. So, it's hard. Mom says, I knew him. I don't know what happened. What happened? I said, I don't know. Okay. Um, However, what she told me was that this was the first year that Cliff did not show up for training camp. He normally never missed a camp. And she said that he had went to Las Vegas. I'm trying to remember how she said it because she was broken up. And I think I caught her overseas because with her parents in Romania. And so she said, he was supposed to go to Las Vegas, but he never actually went out of his home, I believe, something of that order. But the overall gist of what she was saying was that Cliff wasn't well. All right. Um, I don't claim to know Cliff well. That's not the point. The point I'm making is that I knew him well enough to say hello in passing. Morris Bradshaw, his Raiders wide receiving core companion, if you will, introduced us some time ago. And because Morris and I always sit and watch the games at the Coliseum. Some of you may have even seen us watching the games together. But it's unexpected because you don't think there's some people you don't associate with passing on, and he's one of them. It just doesn't, it's not something that enters your mind that Cliff Branch will pass away. Okay. It just, the man, there's nothing about the man that would communicate that, either in terms of personality or body or attitude. He was literally forever young. Um, but I think the person that knew him best was Mark Davis because they were roommates. Okay. And I feel for Mark. uh, but again, what happens is that if you are particularly also with what I do, right? But you come to know people, and then it's not even beyond what I do. Uh, there are associations like Otis Sistrunk. I've known Otis Sistrunk since I was 15 because he knows my mom. I wasn't even interested in football. Who played with Otis? Cliff Branch. So I got to call Otis. Um, it's almost like, it's like I remember when Gene Upshaw passed away, and my last memory of Gene was seeing him when we were at opposite tables over dinner at the Four Seasons Hotel in Houston. And it was just, chatting up, exchanging pleasantries before I went and took Rachel to dinner. These are people who are part of your life. These are your extended family. I mean, no, there are people that you know, buddy, well, but there are people you know enough to say, "Hey, how you doing?" or "Hey, you know so and so, I know so and so," and uh, so then becomes more about who you know and less about anything else. Um, like the woman I met at the training camp 2 years ago, who is a graphic artist, is a friend of Mark Davis and Cliff Branch. Great lady, very talented. Um, so that's what I think of when I think of Cliff Branch, because I'll be 57 in a few hours, um, maybe less than that. Uh, you know, the idea that this man changed the game or had played a deep role in it is it forms the basis for what he did later in life in terms of who he got to know. But the simple fact of the matter is that between 1972 and 1985, Cliff Branch was one of the most dangerous pass catchers in the NFL and in NFL history. He um, he Cliff he caught 67 touchdowns, um, 8,627 yards from scrimmage, and I'm just memorizing. I'm not. That's just from my brain. That's not. I don't have anything to read here. Okay. Uh, but see, I don't remember the numbers. You remember? I remember the. I remember every time I think of Cliff, I remember this sign. Uh, when I think of Cliff and playing, I remember this sign at the the northwest corner, the Coliseum. Excuse me. Maybe I couldn't do this. Screw it. It said, and it was 21 speed kills. It was almost as if Cliff were aiming for the sign every time he went to catch a pass. That man was unbelievably fast. He didn't run. He glide. He would glide. Okay. You throw him a quick slant over the middle. Well, the Raiders really didn't have a standard slant. The Raiders at the time, with the Raiders at the time, be it, the Al Davis passing game that was built on the Sid Gilman idea of pushing the ball down the field, um, throwing deep, but also having deep. The Raiders were known for having patterns that were deeper, uh, than others. Uh, I'm only going to talk about Cliff Branch, folks. Okay, if you can't understand that, that's in my mind right now. I can't help you. I got no room for anything else. This is majorly upsetting. All right. So if you have any other comments, I'm not going to read them off or pay attention to them. I'm talking about one person, and that one person is Cliff Branch. At any rate, uh, Cliff was a great friend of Mark and a great proponent of what Mark wanted to do. It wasn't so much that he was either for or against Las Vegas. Uh, what uh, what he wanted, was what Mark wanted. I mean, he was a true friend. Okay, you got that right off the bat. It was never a matter of hey Cliff, what about, or hey Cliff. I never approached him that way out of respect, because when you encounter someone who is on the side of their friend, you have to respect that. And that was what Cliff Branch was to Mark Davis, you know, a true friend. Well, that's a cool thing. That's sacred. Stuff like that's sacred. Very sacred. Uh, And then, of course, when I think of the playing branch, I think of Cliff Branch and Fred Biletnikoff. Branch and Biletnikoff. And when I hear Branch and Biletnikoff, I hear Bill King saying Branch and Biletnikoff. Bill King, if you don't know the name, is a legendary, never will die radio voice of the Oakland Raiders. And it to hear, you have to go back and listen to a game called with Branch and Biletnikoff by Bill King. All right. It will change the way you look at football. But Branch was poetry in motion. He was the person that you went to when you needed the touchdown. Biletnikoff was the man you went to when you needed the first down. They were right up there with Swan and Stallworth as as one major set of wide receiver tandems that defined the 70s and indeed the early 80s. I was making a comment earlier about Branch and the slant pass. And Cliff, you see the normal slant pass is 3 yards up, you turn in at a 45-degree diagonal, roughly, catch the ball at about the 7 to 12. That's not what the Raiders would do then. The Raiders would go up 5 yards, and then they would break it. They would push it at 15. It was more like a drive. It was more like what we call today as a drive pattern than a slant. Okay. But it put Cliff into a position where, when he made the catch, he flew right by the strong safety. The free safety was so far away from him you couldn't catch him, unless of course he was Jack Tatum. He was sitting over him, but then of course they're on the same team, and you wouldn't catch him. If you caught him, it was only because you had a defensive coordinator that was smart enough to realize, hey, you know what? We're playing the Oakland Raiders, and that Madden, he's gonna push the ball downfield, and we know where you're going to expect 18-yard outs, not 15-yard outs. So we're going to move everything back. You'd be surprised how many defensive coordinators forgot that rule. Fun. It was fun to watch him play, man. But it was even more fun to know that he was in Oakland and a Raider, part of the family, part of the people, part of the sauce. Okay, part of the group of people that you saw. All right. That's what hurts so much. It's like there are people you know just to expect to see him. Just like my friend said on the phone, she said his first training camp he missed. But you turn around, you say, hey, you know, Cliff Branch passed away, so I just saw him. Or like she was saying, she had just texted him. She just texted him a few days ago. All right, a few days ago. You see him getting a few days ago. So yeah, it hurts. It hurts a great deal. Put him in the hall. I know there are people who have this thing where they want to put Phil Villapiano in. Fine, but I think and I believe there's enough room for both. There's enough room for Ray Chester. Time is ticking. We need to get these guys in the Hall of Fame. Okay. I mean, if we're going to start talking about closing out a chapter of one of the greatest football or sports performances in history, that's what bothers me about this whole damn thing. I remember when the Raiders won Super Bowl 11. And they had that great, really awesome video. The kind of video that extols the virtues of the victory and the highlights and what happened. And it had this graphic at the end. And the Raiders they had the graphic with the New York Yankees and all of these other teams, and they show the Raiders winning percentage right up there. Okay, that's what I remember when I think of the Raiders. That's what I remember. All right, that's what I remember. Commitment to excellence. That's what Cliff Branch represented. Commitment to excellence. It was more than just win, baby. All right, and it was certainly about winning, but it was also about how you won. And I don't mean how you won in terms of style, like, oh, were you nice or anything? I mean, no. Techniques of winning, okay? The Raiders had their way. I remember when the Dallas Cowboys won the Super Bowl in 1978. It was a year after the Raiders. I'm, big fan of Tom Landry. Big fan of what Landry brought to the game. Always have been, with engineering and basically coordinated defensive football. And I remember I got on the radio and I was talking with Al Casal, who later became a great friend. Was executive assistant to Al Davis then. Was executive assistant to Al Davis when I worked for Oakland Mayor Elihu Harris. As far as I'm concerned, is still executive assistant to Al Davis. But anyway, I was saying, hey, shouldn't the Raiders have this multiple offense system and where you shift because those Cowboys? I remember him screaming in my ear, literally, we have the Raider way. We are the world's champions. We don't need to. I mean, this was actually before we are the world's champions. Okay. And I take it back. It wasn't before the Cowboys had went to the Super Bowl. It was between. They had just won. Raiders had just won. But me, I was always in love with the shift before the snap and multiple offense and pre-shifts. Brought into the league, might add, by Alonzo Stagg. But I digress. But that's when he talked to me about the Raider way. Now you would say, what year was this? I said it again, 1977. Yeah. How old was I? About 16. Yeah. But in the middle of the Raider way was Cliff Branch then. So I basically grew up with Cliff Branch. Okay. That's why this stings. It's also a reminder of your own mortality. All right. It's all right. Okay. It's a reminder of my own mortality. So, are there any moderators on here? I can't quite see. Because if you're not a Raider fan, and if somebody else is a moderator, get the other people out of here. And Sean, you're not invited to my channel, okay? You try to get on my channel again, you won't be allowed on YouTube at all. Understand? So you might as well you hear that bell? That bell's for you, pal. Get out of my channel. Go away. Get the fuck out of here. I mean, that's talking about you, all right? Get out. Get the fuck out of here. Talking about you. Get the fuck out of here, pal. Get out. That's for you, all right? Get out. Thank you, Bible study. Appreciate it. I don't want his message. I don't want to see that guy anymore, period. Okay? I mean, here I am. I'm talking about the death of a Raider player. And that less than human person is going to come here and post that? Thank you. Okay, thank you. No, I don't want to see. No, that's you're talking about evil people and everything. People like that are awful. All right? I don't want to see that person again. Oh, and by the way, you see me in public, you better go the other way. I will have you arrested for attempted harassment of me. You understand? I'm telling you that right here. You recorded for posterity. All right? I'm serious about that. And the cops will arrest you like that. I've had it done before. I'll have it done again. So if you like your life, leave me alone. Because I will put you in jail. And I mean it. Castro puts up Cliff Branch, 501 receptions, 8,685 yards. Thank you. 17.3 yard average per catch. Wow. Wow. He epitomized the Raiders passing game. We got to get him in the Hall, folks. Okay? We got to get him in the Hall of Fame. It's got to be the next stop. Get him in the Hall of Fame. We got to get him in the Hall of Fame. All right, folks. I got to make some more phone calls, find out what's going on. Cash says he had better numbers than Lynn Swann in those stat comparables. Hey, awesome. Great point, too. And Lynn is in the Hall of Fame, right? Lynn Swann is in the Hall of Fame. PJ says, I just came on to you ripping into it. I agree. That's sad. He's a great player. Yeah, Cliff Branch is an awesome player. If you have a chance to learn about him, please do so. Awesome player, fine person, and a great Raider. But more than a great Raider, his family. Okay? All right, I have some more phone calls to make. Thank you all. God bless you. I'll see you. Thanks, PJ. Thank you very much for your moderation.